Hello, everybody. My name is Reinaldo Rodriguez. I am a candidate master from Venezuela. And today we are going to analyze another game between Robert James Fischer and Mikhail Tal. This was a very important game because it was the first time when Bobby managed to defeat Mikhail Tal. Okay, another Sicilian defense, as we comment in the previous game. So Bobby start with the usual e4, okay, and Mikhail Tal played c5. So knight f3, knight c6, d4. This is the open system, and after the capture, knight takes and e6. Okay, so with this order of move, Bled can play some possible Paulsen system or also a Chevening setup. In this position, Bobby played knight c3. That was a small surprise during the game because probably Mikhail Tal was expecting knight b5. That was the main weapon of Bobby at that moment. Really, the idea of the move is try to jump to d6, and to prevent that, usually black play d6 and white can create with c4 this kind of Maroxy structure, keeping the control on d5 with some pressure over the backward pawn on d6. This is a perfect playable system for both colors, okay? But he did a variation, just to avoid probably initial preparation. So after knight c3, Tal continued with queen c7, and now Bobby did g3. Okay, this way to play resembles some positions of the King's Indian attack, okay, because the bishop is going to be in the fianchetto on the king side. And really, these kind of moves used to be very positional. Just having the bishop in the fianchetto location, hoping to open the center and have the bishop in the long diagonal. Okay, so those kinds of sidelines, can be very interesting because usually people is prepared mostly, for main continuations. One of the classical ways to continue the game at this moment, instead the fianchetto variant, is bishop d3. So with this move, white is looking for the classical setup with queen d2 and long castle that resembles the Yugoslav attack against the Dragon Sicilian. For example, a6. This is a thematic move to cover some knight jumps on d5, and after queen d2, knight f6, long castle, and the position, is usually is an opposite castle situation with very tactical and sharp games. Okay. So let's go back with the textual move of the game. So g3. And here, black plays more in accuracy, continue with the normal development as in the main line with knight f6. The trouble with this move is that now the incorporation of the g3 move is giving a support to the bishop on f4, and Bobby take advantage of this fact, in a very strong way, jumping with the knight to b5, attacking the queen. The normal variation is the knight f6 will be in this position a6, taking care of the b5 square, and a possible continuation can be bishop g2, knight f6, short castle, bishop d7, rook e1. Rook e1 incorporates some ideas of knight d5 and try to open the file. For that reason, castle removing the king out of the file and of the rook. And after the trade of the minor pieces, white can fix the pawn on e6 that is going to kick the bishop being blocked in this diagonal and also winning space and a potential outputs on d6. The valorization of the position is pretty balanced, but I will say that white managed to kick that small opening advantage. Okay, so let's go back. So, okay, Mikhail Tal, instead of cover the b5 square, play knight f6. That really was a careless move. And after knight b d5, queen b8, bishop f4, we can see the power of the g3 move that probably black was expecting just a normal development move, with bishop g2. But now, white is taking the control of the data square and creating a lot of intersection points on d6 and c7. And actually, black is in trouble. In this position, okay, Tal took a lot of time for his next move. He jumped with the knight to e5, trying to keep the diagonal block and hoping to have enough resource, to support the knight in this location, what really is going to be quite difficult in the position. Probably he's looking for some tricks because You know, if white tried to increase the pressure on the knight on e5 with a move like queen d4, that would be a blunder to the royal four, jumping with the knight to f3 with check. So, okay, he did that move. Objectively speaking, probably the best defense will be e5. But after e5, the classical trouble of those kind of positions is the backward pawn on d7, and the d5 square is very well controlled. So white is going to have a strong bind on this square. A possible continuation, maybe bishop g5, a6, takes, and bishop g5 with a strong control on the d5 square. So white have, again, a small but lasting positional advantage for the rest of the game. So let's continue with the textual variant. And now, you know, white play a very elegant move. Okay, bishop e2. This move is very important because the idea is continue increasing the pressure, okay, with queen d2. Also, the bishop on e2 is to square away of the knight, controlling all the knight jumps. This move is very strong because in this position probably is expected the location of the bishop on g2 in order to be consistent with the previous g3 move. And this is also playable, and it's still good for white because it's basically doing the same function, covering the f3 square to continue with queen d4 later. But the bishop on e2, objectively speaking, is a more flexible location because the bishop there is going to control more squares and will not be blocked by the central pawn. Okay, well, let's go back. And now, okay, as the idea is play queen d4 and queen d4 is incoming, here Mikhail Tal play bishop c5 to control the d4 square. This is really a prophylactic thinking. Another variation could be d6, okay, to try to reinforce the knight on e5, but after queen d4, a6, here we have this beautiful move, long castle, without care about the knight hanging on b5, because in case of the capture, bishop takes, and white at least managed to win finally the backward pawn on d6, because the bishop cannot be captured because the queen can get the invasion square on d8 with a background mate. Okay? After bishop c5, bishop takes c5, this move, you know, with this move seems to be like white is losing the bishop pair, but really this is the best way to pick the initiative because after the recapture with the queen, now white is going to start the mobilization of the center of those pawns in the center of the board, and all of them will be on that square, doing a good replacement for the accent that square bishop that was previously exchanged by the knight. So queen b8 and finally e5, winning more space, winning a tempo, enabling e4 for the knight and looking for some outputs in the future given by the central pawn on e5. Okay? So here, Tal, you know, was fighting very well, playing a6, looking for counterplay, okay, and not playing a simple passive defense. But after pawn takes, the capture on g7, attacking the rook. In some of the comments after the game, you know, some commentators were explaining that probably 94 here was a better option for white. But after the game, Bobby said that, you know, he couldn't defeat Tal before this game, so really he wanted to capture the pawn to keep the advantage and to not speculate delaying the win material. Okay, so he wants just to have the material already in the back. Okay, so after rook g8, now 94, looking for this fork on f6. Okay, so black retreat the bishop to square away of the knight, covering the f6 square, and now queen d4. Okay, the centralizing the queen, also protecting this pawn that is very advanced and reinforcing the check here. So rook a4, okay, fighting for the initiative, creating a threat, but this is an intermediate move, forcing black to lose the data square bishop that at the moment is a very important piece because all the pawn structure by black is in the opposite corner. Okay, so now the control on the data square is going to be fantastic for white. Also, another important factor of this position is that black rooks are disconnected. Black couldn't connect the rooks never, so you know, for that reason, this rook maneuver to try to activate the rook, keeping the bishop in the background, okay, is quite common. okay, as an alternative way to resolve the trouble of the connections of the rook. So, well, queen c7, looking for counterplay on c2, and now long castle. Okay, this is a brave move because white managed to finally connect the rooks, complete the coordination of the pieces, and defending the pawn in an active way. In other hand, is leaving the pawn on a2 hanging, but really everything was under control because after rook takes, king b1, okay, winning a tempo, attacking the rook. In this position, if black try to align the rook with the queen, trying to do a background mate, there is a possibility for white just to push the pawn, opening the diagonal, covering the invasion square, for example, after this before, and the queen is still covering this square, and white is ready to consolidate the advantage, just trading queens. The pawn cannot be captured because the rook will be handled. So let's go back. Tal played rook a6. That, objectively speaking, is probably one of the most active locations, despite at the moment is in the same color of the last square bishop. But really, at this moment, really, black don't care about material considerations, like the pawn on b5, because all is about fight for the initiative and try to survive in this difficult position. So now, okay, Fischer simply retrieved the bishop on d3. That seems to be that is blocking the d5, but really the bishop here is pretty safe because it's being supported by a pawn from behind, and also the bishop is aiming to this hanging pawn on a7 to support a potential promotion of the pawn. So now black play e5, okay, just to try to survive, to the imminent threat. Black really didn't have any useful way to protect that pawn. So for that reason, with e5, he's hoping for queen takes and trade queens and play a rook in. But Fischer have a surprise prepared for Tal, capturing here with the pawn. Okay, this is a fantastic move, a brilliant move. Basically, the justification of this is that sacrificing the queen, white is going to support the pawn on g7, connecting two passed pawns. Okay, well, only one, but the pawn on f6 is going to support the passed pawn, keeping the threat over the pawn on a7, also still promoting a new queen. So, yeah, really, at the moment, this is a position with two rooks for the queen, because this rook is on the board, but really is like wouldn't be on the board because cannot participate in the game. Okay, so very good valoration and criteria by Bobby. So queen c5. Tal is trying to attack the base of this small pawn chain. He cannot do that with queen e5 due to the pin. Okay, so bishop takes. Finally, the rook falls. And after queen g5, takes, rook h f1, taking the open file and creating intersection pawn on f7. So takes, check, in the A, and now bishop e6, keeping the pressure. The idea is try to capture on d7 and with double rooks, or probably rook f7 as well, maybe an idea to later capture on d7 in good conditions. So queen a6, takes, and rook f7, increasing the pressure on the pin, and finally restoring, not the material balance for sure, because white have a bit advantage in material. But now, now start the technical phase of the game. Really started, from the opening phase when Tal make the opening mistake. Okay, but I am talking more in considering, different levels of chess for sure. So okay, after some checks, he finally decides uh, to come back with the rook just to prevent some checks. Okay, he could capture the pawn as well. Okay, b5, rook b7. There is no checks available. Okay, to do some crazy forks. So okay, queen h5, attacking the rook on d1, g4. Okay, this is a try to deflect the queen of the protection of the pawn, because yeah, with two fast connected pawns and two rooks, that should be enough. g5. Okay, queen here. This is a temporary fork, intermediate move. And finally, the pawn falls, and the rest of the game is just, matter of technique, keeping all the time the rooks connected. Okay, and after rook here, white is ready to, for the staircase main. that is incoming pretty soon. So this was a fantastic victory by Bobby. Was very important because it was the first time, when he defeated Mikhail Tal, and also, to continue with that style, defeating the Russian players. So, well, guys, okay, with this, we'll finish with the analysis of this historical game. I hope you enjoy the comments. Remember, if you like, don't forget share and subscribe, and share this with your friends. Okay, so hope to see you soon in a new video. Take care.